Hello everyone, Simon here. Welcome back to the architecture of Cyberpunk 2077. So in this video, we are going to walk around Dogtown. Dogtown is inside those gates there. Before we go in, just to recap, Dogtown, so in the game, within the story of the game, Dogtown is a part of Night City that's been taken over by a rival paramilitary force who are not subject to the local government. So they're basically rebels who have taken over a part of the city, and they've built giant walls around it, and they've turned it into a fortress. So it's a lawless and antagonistic part of the city. They're not actively fighting right now, but they're technically not at peace either. The leader of Dogtown, so Barghast is the group that is controlling Dogtown, and the leader of Barghast, Kurt Hansen is his name. So he's a pretty savvy guy. He's very quickly got, since he took over Dogtown a few years ago, I think it's like 7 years ago at this point, something like that. So a number of years ago he took over Dogtown, and very quickly he got into the weapons trading business, the illegal weapons trading business. So he runs a lot of black market import-export, and his services have proven to be so useful to the local wealthy elites and megacorps that they've decided not to kick him out. Because usually at a place like this, what's gonna happen? They're gonna send in some bombers and just flatten the place. Like, why would they let you stay here, right? You would think the local government would just destroy the whole place, but they didn't because Kurt Hansen is pretty smart about it. And potentially Kurt Hansen is still working for one of the megacorps, Militech. Potentially, maybe not, nobody knows. Anyway, so it seems like the situation is quite precarious, but he's been here for a while. And so it's a different part of the city. And it's a place where the city government does not reach. And so the police don't come in here. And it's well, when we go inside, you'll see it's a bit of a. It looks like a war zone, and I guess they never cleaned it up since the last war, which is a little strange since a number of years ago. Anyway, we'll talk about that later on. Outside the game, Dogtown is part of the DLC for Cyberpunk 2077, right? So Dogtown is designed separately from the rest of the city. The rest of Night City, in fact, the whole game, was designed at the same time with the same team, with the same philosophy, and then after the game was finished, then they went on to work on the DLC, and the DLC has a slightly different design philosophy. The Phantom Liberty DLC, in a lot of ways, is a little bit more cinematic and a little less realistic. So it's more into the spectacle and less into the socioeconomic discussions about hypercapitalism. Right? Like it's a little bit less cerebral and a little bit more emotional, should we say. So the design philosophy of the DLC is a little bit different, and it actually comes across in the architecture as well, where the architecture is more spectacle and less logic, actually. Like when we look around, you see a lot of things that don't really make sense, but it looks really cool. So it's more in that direction. Okay, let's go in. And as we said in the last video, Pacifica as a whole was meant to be the new entertainment district of Night City, right? Except the war happened, and then at the end of the war, as we said, Kurt Hansen took over Dogtown. And so the whole entertainment district thing didn't really work out. So in here we're gonna have a lot of half-finished hotels, resorts, and other entertainment destinations that were never completed, and now they've been taken over by.
And don't make any sudden moves.
Those are Barghast. They've been taken over by Barghast and the other people who live here in Dogtown. Alright, coming in here. Whoa, right away. In front of us in the distance we have a big circle. That's the, what's that one? I forgot what that one is. Eventide? Something Eventide. Luxury Spa Hotel. Okay, so first up, already we need to talk about theme park architecture. What that is the theme park industry calls that a Ouija. No, weenie. It's called a weenie. I don't even remember. It's called a weenie, and the term weenie was coined by Walt Disney when he was designing Disneyland. He decided that he needed a landmark in the middle of Disneyland that drew everybody in. So it's a big, fancy thing in the distance that you look at from a distance and you say, wow, that's so cool, I want to be there. So a weenie is that, and that comes from animation where you have like things on the screen that catches your attention, and so your eyes follow that thing. It could be, you know, the main character, it could be a light, it could be some sort of like the action. And so then there's the background around it, and then there's the focal point of the scene. And so it comes from that, so it's a very like a cinematic way of thinking about architecture. And in fact, if we come over to Wikipedia, so the Cinderella Castle was the main weenie. In fact, it still is the main weenie of Disneyland. This thing, right? If you get like a view of it, Sleeping Beauty Castle, Cinderella Castle, not that one. See that one? Notice how the Sleeping Beauty one is significantly smaller. So you see this thing in the distance and you say, wow, I want to be a princess, and then you go towards it, right? Like this thing. And there's a little bit of a description here somewhere. Alright, let me search for it. Weenie, there we go. So, Cinderella Castle was designed so that it was tall enough to be seen from the Seven Seas Lagoon in front of the Magic Kingdom, where many guests took ferries from the parking lot to the gates of the park. See, look at that. So it was designed specifically to be seen from a distance, right? So as you're going from the parking lot to the main gate, you're taking the ferry, and from the ferry you look out into the horizon and you see this castle. So, wow, magical. I want to be a princess, right? That's what it's supposed to be. So this thing in the distance, and it makes you, wow, I want to go there. So it's that sort of thing. And as we said, like this whole area, Dogtown, it's all about spectacle, right? And already, like the first thing we see as we come in is this thing, this spectacle. In theme park jargon, Cinderella Castle was conceived as the primary weenie, a term commonly used by Walt and his Imagineers, that draws new entering guests through Main Street, USA towards the central hub, from where all other areas can be reached. So that's the center of the park, that's the main landmark. And then you go in there, and then from there you can go to each sub-region of Disneyland. And then if you want to go back to go to somewhere else, you always know where you're going because you just look around and you see the big castle and you think, okay, that's the center of the park. I go back there and then I go to the next area. I go back to the castle, go to the next area, and so on. So it's a big landmark in the middle of the park, and that's the focal point of the park. As an architecture person, I just call it a landmark. But Walt Disney and his people call it a weenie because they're not architecture people apparently. They're animation people. And so, like that. It's like, oh, that's the thing, let's go up there. And in Dogtown, it serves a similar purpose. It's not quite in the middle, but it's good enough that you can use it to locate where you are, right? Looking around, you can see what I mean when I said it looks like a war zone. The idea is that since Kurt Hansen came in, because there's no city government services, then this whole place is just a mess, right? Although realistically, I don't see why Kurt Hansen and his people didn't clean the place up. Because they control the city now. You know, stuff like this. I mean, they have soldiers, so you can just get a bunch of soldiers and just say, you know, move the trash, move that to the side. So a lot of this stuff, it's more the the aesthetics of chaos and the aesthetics of war that they want to convey, and not really realistic. Like, because they've been here for at least 7 years or so. Why would they not clean it up? I mean, look, so there's a bullet holes. So this is like the aesthetics of war. Is, oh, you have shot up cars in the street like, you have burned out cars in the street because, oh, chaos and destruction. But it's been 7 years, man. Come on, seriously. So like, you know, you think about it a bit more. It doesn't really make sense why the cars are still there, but they're there to give you the sense that this place is chaotic. Coming up here, we arrive at the main strip of Dogtown. So all these are casinos. You can kind of see it. What does that say? Roar of Eden. It says Pride of Eden Casino, and you have all sorts of casinos lining one side. So I guess this is like Vegas Strip, right? There's a strip of casinos, and each casino is very distinctive and interesting, right? They have big lion statues, and they're all bright lights and fancy shapes, and everyone's trying to catch your attention, trying to get you to go inside the casino to spend all your money. So this is the center of the entertainment district of Pacifica, or it was meant to be, right? This is where you come here and you throw away all your money. Of course, it didn't turn out that way. So now all these casinos, they're just closed. They might be occupied by squatters, and there's no money being spent. Let me actually go look up Las Vegas Strip. The Las Vegas Strip? Right, let me go into Wikipedia again. So Las Vegas Strip, very similar concept, although significantly bigger. You'll notice that the casino resorts are much bigger. It's very postmodern. So Caesar's Palace, as you can see, it's pretending to be some sort of Roman temple, or some sort of Roman palace. But it's a high-rise, so it really doesn't make any sense. But anyway... Oh god, it's so stupid, you guys. I can't believe... Okay, so look, we don't take any of this seriously, right? Because the whole point of this is entertainment. The whole point of this is to have fun. You go to Las Vegas to have fun. You're not going to Las Vegas to do anything serious. Oh, look at this, the Venetian, and there's the bridge. Except the bridge doesn't reach the ground. Oh, that's so great. And by great, I mean incredibly stupid. Where does the bridge join to? Oh, and is that St. Mark's? So there's like fake Venice. They've faked pieces of Venice and they've put it here. Unbelievable. It's so postmodern and it's so silly and oh my god. Unbearable. Unbearably tacky. What is it? I don't even know what that is. Oh, they put the Eiffel Tower there, oh god. Okay, so Las Vegas is this. It's incredibly silly. But you go there for the fantasy, right? You go there to have fun. And you don't go there to take... I mean, you're probably drunk most of the time. You're probably drunk 24 hours a day while you're in Vegas. So it doesn't really matter if everything is stupid. Unbelievable. I mean, okay, this is slightly better, slightly less less stupid. So yeah, it's all about spectacle. All about like trying to stand out, trying to be special, trying to be unique. Bright colors. And trying to get you to go there and spend money and forget about the real world. Like you go into this fantasy land where there's an Eiffel Tower and there's Venice and and everything is fake, but you don't care because you're there for the fun and the games, and you're not there to be serious. All right, let's just see if we can find any more stupid things. Oh yeah, no, the Sphinx. Oh my God, there's a pyramid and a Sphinx. Are we in Egypt? No, we're in Vegas, baby. So like, why Egypt? Again, it's escapism. You go to Vegas to escape from your real world. And so whatever is in Vegas needs to be different from your real world, right? Like if you put New York in Vegas, then why would you go there? Like you can just go to New York. You want to go there to get away from your normal life, and so you put in exotic things. You put in like faraway places and ancient civilizations, and you put in all sorts of stuff that's anything that's not your normal life because you're trying to escape your normal life. So ancient Egypt, there you go. Even if you're from Egypt and you go to Vegas, you'll be disappointed. But if you're not actually from ancient Egypt and you go to Vegas, you'll think, oh yeah, it's Egypt, right? You go there just to get away, and you like immerse yourself in this fantasy world, and also the casinos. So the inside of the casinos is completely closed off from the outside, because again, they want you to forget about the outside world. They want you to go in and just spend the rest of your life in there, and you don't even realize what time it is outside. There are no clocks on the walls. No clocks on the walls, no windows. You go in and you just don't know what time it is anymore. And you just spend hours and hours and hours gambling your money away. And this is deliberate, right? This is deliberate casino design. It's not bad architecture, even though it's kind of awful. But it's deliberately like this to make you forget about the outside. And of course nightclubs like this, right? Again, no windows, no clocks. You just go there and you party and you party and you party and you party non-stop. Whoa, okay, so this is the interior of Caesar's palace. Caesar didn't actually have a palace like this, by the way. This is neoclassic. This is not classical. This is very neoclassical. It's a whole different era. I mean, what? Why does why does the column do that? Oh, okay, so this is like, I mean, obviously it's not real Roman architecture. In fact, it's, oh my God. Okay, well, this is Vegas. Unbelievable. Las Vegas. Why? Oh my God, it's so gold. It's just covered in gold? And look at the pools and palm trees and giant pyramid. Okay. Oh yeah, more photos. Big fountains. A giant Ferris wheel. Like it's a theme park for adults, right? It's an amusement park for adults. It's an amusement park for people with too much money and who are allowed to drink alcohol. That's basically Las Vegas. Okay, back to the game. And after you see that and you come back to the game, you're like, okay, right? We have like lions, we have like vaguely Middle Eastern things, vaguely Egyptian shapes. But you're kind of disappointed now after you see those pictures because these buildings are way too small, right? Like Caesar's Palace, it's kind of like that size, but like wider. Anyway, so it's a similar idea here. You have a lot of just kind of crazy shapes and bright colors, and none of it really makes sense. But the whole point of it is to be different. Is to just doing it just to be different, different from each other, and also different from your life, your real life outside of this place. So you come in here and you immerse yourself in a fantasy land where nothing is real, and you spend a lot of money. Welcome to Dogtown. And on the other side, we do have these two things. The scale of this seems a little bit off. I'm not sure how I feel about how big these are. If you look at these are about as big as Arasaka Tower. These things are about as big as the stuff in Kobo Plaza. Maybe they overdid it a little bit, to be honest. Not sure about this. The idea is these are both big hotels. That is the Black Diamond? What's it called? Black Sapphire. Black Sapphire? One of these things. So that's a huge resort hotel, which the Barghast have taken over. So the Barghast have put their own headquarters in there. You'll notice that it's actually almost complete. It's maybe like 90% complete. So in the bottom half, the facade's even in. In the story, we can't go in there now, but within the story, you find out that there's a bit of a penthouse area where they have parties. So the penthouse area is also built, and then the bottom area is built. And honestly, it's a little strange that they didn't just finish this. Right. So I guess the story is the building got to this point, which honestly is very close to completion. It was almost completed, and then the war broke out, and then after the war, Barghast took over. And so the problem I have with this is, why don't Barghast just finish it? Like, it's almost finished. And Barghast is not like they don't have money, they have an army. They have enough money for an army, they have enough money to just put the cladding on, let's put the facade on, and then you finish the whole building and everything's great, and you can have the whole building. Because the problem with this is that if you leave the facade open like this, the rain's gonna get in, and the wind is gonna get in, and then birds are gonna get in. And rain getting into your building is really bad, because the inside of the building, usually you're designing it not to be rained on, right? So all the interior furnishings, all the doors, all the electronics, and all the wiring and cables, and all the insulation, all that stuff on the inside, you're not planning to have any of that stuff get wet. And so the most important part of the building is the external envelope. If you can keep the water out, everything inside is easy. If you don't keep the water out, everything is a disaster. Right? So you can't do anything if you don't keep the water out. And given that it's almost done, like it's more than halfway done, you would just finish it. And then you can use the whole building. So again, like, from a narrative standpoint, I get it. Right? Like this was going to be a really fancy hotel, but then the war broke out, and look at it now, it's ruined. The whole thing is ruined because of the war. So that's the narrative. What I'm saying is, if I was Barghast, if I was Kurt Hansen, I would just spend a little bit of money, finish the facade, and then I'll have the whole building to myself. And that would benefit me a lot more than not doing it, right? Like fixing it up and getting the whole building for me to use, much better than if I don't do it. So like if you think about it a bit, it doesn't make sense why he doesn't just finish the building, right? Because he controls the place now, and he gets a free building, pretty much. Over here we have another building. I don't remember if there's a name for this one. Similar idea, a very tall hotel. The facade is somewhat less finished, although they've put a giant screen on the front of it. Again, putting on the facade, it's not going to cost that much. Right, you've put the columns in, you've put the floors in, you've put most of the stuff in, just putting the outer skin on the building, that's like the final bit. You just do that, and again you have the whole tower. And you just did like the little bit. You stole the rest of the tower from somebody else, and you just finish it off, and you get the whole tower to yourself. So again, it's a little bit of investment for a lot of benefit, and there's no reason why you wouldn't do that, in my opinion. But again, the narrative point of this is, oh look, it was gonna be a cool building, but damn these Barghast dudes, they took over and now everything is ruined! Ruined! But they wouldn't ruin it. Why would they ruin it? It's theirs now. Of course they would fix it. And then everything else is much smaller. So again, these two towers, they seem a little too big. They seem out of scale with the rest of the buildings. Who knows though, right? Because it's unfinished, we don't really know what the story was gonna be with those. Ah! He did that on purpose, come on. Okay, let's walk this way. Over here we have like a multi-level pedestrian space, right? So the casinos are these things here. As we said, no windows, because you don't want the people inside to see the outside. You don't want to remind them that there's anything outside for them. And then there's like a 3-story pedestrian space down here, right? So there's this down here, and then there's that level, there's a bridge there, and then there's up there's a roof space as well.
Picked up the scav words yesterday.
Down here, underneath everything, there are shops.
Stacked nice and neat.
This does not look nearly as luxurious as the casinos around. Not sure about this. Like, who's supposed to come down here? Maybe it's just the lack of maintenance. Maybe if we like clean this up, put some fancy lights in, it'd be nice.
Clean it up, I swear.
Why do we even have to deal with those?
It is a lot of pedestrian space, and especially because the casinos aren't that big, but I guess those buildings are huge. So when you think about like how much pedestrian space do you need, you're thinking about, okay, how many people do we expect to come to Dogtown, and how many of them do we expect to be on the street at the same time? And then you size the amount of pedestrian space given the number of people you expect to come, right? And so like having like a 3-story pedestrian thing, there's like bridges above, squares below, and then also roof space. You're expecting a lot of people to come to Dogtown. You're expecting for this place to be like a very, very popular tourist destination, and it's going to be really crowded. Maybe sometimes there's special events, like maybe there's like a big concert, or maybe there's like, I don't know, Christmas party, or you know, or New Year's party. So maybe sometimes it gets really crowded, but not all the time. But what we can say for sure is that, given the size of these spaces, the plan was that sometimes there'll be a lot, at least sometimes there'll be a lot of people in this space, right? It was really, really meant to be a big attraction. Oh look, there's a giant face there. So again, these buildings that are trying to be interesting and exotic and special. Can we... okay, let's go in here. What is this, by the way? The Grand Azalea? It's definitely, it's very azalea, the color of it. Although if you go inside, it turns out it's a bit of a mall, right? So an interior mall, Milfgard, that's a strip club, I believe. I guess the strip clubs are still open. So this is the mid-level. So there was a lower pedestrian level, there's the mid-level, and then there's still another level above. Let me go up there. So on this level, over here, Undersea Reverie. Oh, it's hostile. Wait, let me step back. I want to look at it. Okay, excuse me. I'll take these guys out. These guys are getting in the way of our architecture tour. Get that guy. Get that guy. Did I get them all? I think I got them all. Okay, so Undersea Reverie is a swimming pool. So I guess they have a swimming pool above the... oh, another one. A swimming pool above the casino. It's not easy to do rooftop swimming pool, by the way, because if anything leaks, it's gonna leak into the building, for one. So you gotta make sure it doesn't leak. Secondly, it's heavy. Water is really, really heavy. So having like a really heavy weight at the top of the building means you need big structure at the bottom holding it all up. So rooftop swimming pools, significantly more expensive than ground swimming pools because of all the structure, right? You would do it at a luxury hotel, sure. I'm just saying it costs a lot of money if you choose to do it. And like, what's the difference between a rooftop swimming pool and a ground swimming pool? It's just a pool, right? Like, what's the difference? Why would you do that? You would do it if you have a lot of money to spend and you want to create something really special. But you need to understand that it is not an economical way to use your money, right? Is this sand? Is it like a beach up here? So we have a pool with a bar in the middle in between the pools. A lot of fun. What's over here? So this is the roof area of the other casino. I think it's just a square over here. Or just like an open terrace. Nope, there's more pools. Okay. More swimming pools over here. Interesting. So similarly to the to Coast View, right, in Pacifica outside the walls, we have hotels, we have pools. Additionally, we have casinos here. We don't have casinos outside. It's just a lot of entertainment and tourism-focused buildings. And the architectural style of these buildings, right? It's supposed to... I mean, it's very Art Deco, first of all. It's meant to be a little bit exotic and mysterious, because that's the thing they're going for, right? The words there says Montezuma's Throne. Montezuma is South American. So it's supposed to be a little bit like South American pyramids and stone buildings, and I mean, but it's not really. It's not really how the South Americans built their architecture. But it's fantasy architecture, right? It's not real South American architecture. So they take a little bit of inspiration from, you know, exotic civilizations. So you have like Mesopotamian, South American, Egyptians. I think a sandstorm's rolling in. Right, so you take slight inspirations from exotic civilizations, and you like use those shapes and colors, and you turn it into a resort. You might have to pass the time again. And as we look ahead, we have a big pyramid there, and obviously the big pyramid is Egyptian inspired. And if you remember, there's a big pyramid in Las Vegas as well, because that's easy, right? Everybody knows the pyramid. There's a lot of space. Like, this is huge. You know, like in some sense, you don't want the space to be too big, because then people have to walk a long way, and people might get tired of walking. So it's not like having like big streets and big plazas are always good. There is such a thing as having too much plaza. And, you know, looking at this now, I feel like we're kind of there. There's kind of too much space. But I don't know, right? Maybe at some point, this place was meant to be so crowded that you would need this much space. We have naked women statues. Yeah, naked women statues holding up this bridge. Naked woman statues, always popular. And we have an obelisk. Why is there an obelisk in the middle of the roundabout? Are we in... It could be Egypt, it could be Washington DC, it could be Las Vegas. over here. Alright, so this is this pyramid, right? It's called the Heavy Hearts Club. It's a club. There are some hotel rooms on the upper floors. Downstairs is a club. And we have these dog-headed statues holding it up. Egypt inspired. Although the green and black color scheme is very futuristic, so it's like cyber Egyptian, if that's a thing. High-tech cyber Egyptian. Maybe it plays into the whole ancient aliens thing, right? Because the conspiracy theory is, well, there's no way humans could have built the pyramids. It's such a big pyramid. How could people have built it back thousands of years ago? It must have been aliens. And so the whole Egyptian thing has been slightly conflated with science fiction things because of the ancient aliens. It's ancient, but it's high tech, and this is kind of playing into that, right? Ancient aliens Egyptian pyramid. Black and green.
You've seen Lizzie Wizzy. Here.
Coming in here, it's less green and more yellow, although it's still quite triangle. You see those triangular shapes. Are these real hieroglyphics? I mean, probably not, but what if it was? What if this actually said something? I should have done some research. Has anybody tried to translate these hieroglyphics? Coming inside the front door. Oh, here we go. High-tech Egyptian. Cyber Egyptian is not a real thing. But if you go to Vegas, you'll see it, I guess. What is that anyway? So there's a light projector in there. There's some dudes dancing in down there. I've turned the music off, so it just looks kind of silly. They would be pumping music in here if I had it on. It's dark and smoky, which I think is the go-to theme for a lot of clubs, because you just don't want to see people. You don't actually want to see other people, so it's like dark and foggy. The seats are pretty normal, right? Except everything is lit from below. Very mysterious, very spooky. Right, everything's lit from below. What's going on with these columns? What is this? Is that real Egyptian architecture? No, it's not. Clearly not. Oh yeah. I guess we're the... Actually no, what's going on here? Some lights are above, some lights are below. I wonder if it would be better if it was consistently lit from below. It's only these lights that are from above. Everything else is from below. Like maybe like where the dancers are, they would be lit from above and below, because you want to see the dancers clearly. Whereas everybody else is lit from below because you don't want to see those people. Right? But it's seating. So maybe if there was like a stage here, this would make more sense. You want to highlight the dancers because that's what people want to watch. And then everything else is smoky and dark and mysterious. We can't go back there, I don't think. Well, no we can. Restrooms? Alright, should we inspect the restrooms? Let's critique the toilet. Oh, it's purple. It's dark and it's purple. And a little bit alarming, actually. You know, maybe it should be less purple and more white. What I'm saying is, sometimes in a club, the toilet is the place you go to escape, right? Like if you're not having the best time, or maybe you have a little bit too much to drink, you want to come here, or need other substances, you want to come here to calm down. So I think like the toilet should probably be normal compared to the rest of the club, is what I mean. Is that how clubs work? Am I wrong? Am I like uncool? Because I don't understand how clubs work. So I think clubs, like the toilet should probably be the most normal part of the club. because this is where you would go to get away from the craziness, right? So the purple lights is a little much, maybe. But at least it's not noisy in here, right? It's kind of calm, right? It's kind of plain. So that's good, at least. How's the other one? Is this also purple? Yep, it's also purple. I don't know about the purple. And like makeup. You know, don't women go to the bathroom to touch up their makeup? If everything's purple, then you can't see the actual color of your face, so you don't know what you're doing. You put the wrong lipstick on because the colors are all wrong. Is that, I mean, right? Isn't that how that works? If you want to like check yourself, you want to have white lights so you can get a clear look at yourself. Anyway, maybe too purple. Like out here, everything is green and yellow, and so you look at the skin tones of people. Everyone's gonna look slightly alien and ghoulish, but that's okay, right? That's the whole point of the club. Over here we have a bar. The bar is a bar. There's not much to say about it. Oh hey, she's all dressed up. Look at that. With the hair thing and the gold lipstick thing. All right, she's dressed up for her work. And then I guess this is more or less it. I don't remember if I can go upstairs or not. I don't think I can. Look at that. The doors are lit. That's kind of good, actually. It's useful. In like a dark club like this, it's useful to have doorways lit up so you can see where you're going, because it's all foggy and stuff, right? Otherwise you'd get lost very easily. Alright, we should look up as well, hold on. So we're inside the pyramid, right? If we look up, I don't think that's the exterior. So, from what I understand, there's like two pyramids, an external, like an outer wall and an inner wall, and in between, I think there are some VIP rooms, if I remember right. So there's like glass in there, and behind the glass, there's other stuff. Can't see very clearly right now, though. Let me just double check to see if I can go upstairs. I don't think I can. In certain parts of the game, you can go upstairs, and there are like VIP rooms. Can I go up here? Oh, wait a minute. Keycard required. Yeah, no, I can't go up there. Alright. Let's go back outside. Here, this is the Heavy Hearts Club. The Cyber Egyptian architecture. It's not a real thing. Alright, let's get out of the way. Oh my god, thank goodness. Alright, we're out. We're out of there. On the opposite side of the road, there's more of these things, unfinished hotels. Again, like the structure is complete. All the floors are in, all the columns are in. It just needs a skin. Like, that's like the cheapest part compared to the other stuff. Why wouldn't you just finish it? I mean, like, if the building was like 20% complete, okay, you abandon it. If it's like 40% complete, maybe you abandon it. But when it's 90% complete, you would just finish it. Because why wouldn't you? You know, even in Dogtown, you can rent it out. Probably you can rent it out. I mean, okay, I understand it's a bit of a war zone down here. But you can use that space, I feel like. Over here, at the northern end of Dogtown, we have the stadium. It's alarming. The stadium is in an alarming state of disrepair. Okay, so architecture and structure. The idea is, I understand, the idea is that at some point in the past there was a war here, right? So Kurt Hansen, he did have to fight a guerrilla war over here to take control of Dogtown, and maybe the stadium was damaged in the fighting. Alright, I get it. But here's the thing. Architecture, like a building, the structure works as a system. You can't just remove a part of the structure and expect the rest of it to just stay there. because everything works together to hold it up, right? So columns, if you have one column, it has the strength of one column, right? So you knock it down, you need to push over one column to knock that down. If you have another column, they're two individual columns, same thing. You just push down one column at a time, it breaks. But if you like join them together, now the two columns are working together. If you push one, the beam is going to push the other one as well. So now if you have two columns that are joined together at the top, to push them over, you have to push both of them over at the same time. You see how that works? So now the column is, well, the two columns are twice as strong. So two columns tied together with a beam is twice as strong as two columns individually. That makes sense, right? Because when you join them together, they start working together. So with a structure like this, like you see how like those beams are all tied together, like those frames. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 frames, and then they're tied together with horizontal, so they're working together, right? Whereas if you remove the ties, then they're acting individually and they're much weaker. So if you remove any piece of the structure, the remaining pieces are weakened. Now you look at that part. If you remove, so like a section of the disk has just broken off, right? But once you do that, you break off that much of that disk, now the other part, that becomes a lot weaker, and that's eventually going to fall down as well, probably. Because it's not designed to stand by itself, it's designed to stand as a web of beams and columns tied together. They're all bolted together, right? So it's not like... This is extremely unsafe, is what I'm saying. There's a market inside, and this place is occupied, there are people inside, it's extremely unsafe. When your building looks like that, you can't assume that the rest of it will just stay there forever, because it won't. Because now that's much weaker than before. And even the concrete falling off, right? Okay, so there's steel inside, and there's a concrete shell on the outside. Okay, fine. But again, once the concrete falls off, the concrete is also part of that structure, right? The concrete also ties the beams together in its own way. So when the concrete falls off, the steel becomes weaker as well. And now the steel is also exposed to the weather. Whereas before the concrete kept the rain out, right? Now it's getting rained on, and so the steel is going to rust faster than if the concrete was still on, because it gets more water onto it whenever it rains. You see what I mean? So before the concrete kept the rain off, now the concrete doesn't keep because it's open. So now the rain falls directly on the steel, so it rusts faster. So the whole thing is, a lot more fragile than when it was intact. So it's not a good idea to occupy a building that looks like this. It's not like, oh, half your building has fell over, I can still live in the other half, it's fine. It's not fine. That's not how structure works. Don't do it. Don't do it. Like, if half your house fell down, don't assume you can live in the remaining half. Like this, right? And like, bits of concrete like that, like it's cracked, and more of it is gonna fall off over time, right? Yeah, so like it looks really dramatic. Okay, like just if you don't understand anything about structure, you look at it as, wow, it's cool. It's like a half ruined stadium that people are still living in because it's Dogtown, and you're living amongst the ruins of a once great city. Okay. No, but that's not. That's not. Like if there was if somebody tried to fix it, right? If the roof fell down and somebody like tried to fix it, if they put like braces on it, if they kind of put brackets on it, if they kind of put temporary columns to hold the rest of it up, then I'd feel a lot better about it, right? If somebody like tried to fix it, if they kind of like made sure to, bolt everything in or tie everything up or do something, like put a net there to hold the thing together. Because like sometimes a building is falling down, like you see a wall and it's crumbling, and then they put like braces against it to stop the wall from falling down. You can do that. Like if you have braces or something trying to hold this thing up and it looks plausible, I would feel a lot better about that than what it is now. You see what I mean? So it's not that you can't do it, it's just that you need to recognize that this structure is not safe anymore and you need to do something about it, right? Yeah, no, that's extremely unsafe. Extremely unsafe. Let's go inside! Let's go inside the extremely unsafe building. This used to be a sports stadium. And it used to expect a lot of people. So we have like wide staircases. How big is the stadium anyway? How many tens of thousands of people do you think would fit in this stadium? This seems bigger than the normal stadium actually. This looks huge. 100,000 people? Do you think 100,000 people can fit in there? I'm not sure. The scale is like, it's a little bit deceiving. It's a big stadium, so however many tens of thousands of people you expect to go to the stadium when it's at full capacity, you need to get those people in and out of this building, right? So big wide staircases to get all the people in. Are those lower entrances? What's down here? No, that's just a wall. We have these football statues too. Oh, he's got the wings. And a big butt, look at that. Look at that statue. Let me just stand here so you can enjoy that butt. It's a strange mixture of, like, again, this kind of ancient Greco-Roman sculpture, like heroic sculptures, and futurism, right? They're playing football, those are football players, and they have, like, what is that, a cyborg wing? So there's a strange fusion of ancient and futuristic. Can I get in there without being shot at? I just noticed something on his butt. That says danger in Chinese. Somebody has graffitied danger on his butt cheek. Very funny. Extremely funny. What's going on here? There's a bunch of logos. Not sure what the logos are there for. So it's a market, right? And it's not just any market, it's a black market. It's a market full of stolen goods. And somebody, maybe a lot of people, have put out all the logos of all the stolen goods on the front of the building to tell you the kinds of stolen goods you can buy inside, I guess. But you know, like, you know, Fuyutsuki and Tsunami and Tetronic and all this stuff, like, none of these businesses actually have representatives here. These are all stolen goods inside here.
So I was having a drink, eating locust pepperoni pizza, watching Watson 4 reruns, Max
Coming in here,
Oye,
up the
despacio.
stairs. You know, this seems a little narrow.
huge explosion, smoke.
You know, I said before, like, how big the stadium is and how many people need to move in and out. This seems a little narrow. I think a real stadium would have multiple entrances this big. Actually, let me just check if there are other entrances. Not that I can see.
Fucking chaos that was.
Alright, into here. Into a smaller space, we have some food stores improvised out here. Coming through. There's a fan behind a... Oh, there's a light behind a fan. Why is there a light behind a fan? Who knows? I think it's only there for the cool shadows, right? And then there we have another football player statue. Like, is that meant to be cool or is that meant to be silly? I feel like that's a little bit silly, this statue. A little bit too serious? Like a little bit too heroic? Like, look at these guys. I mean, okay, it's not that serious, is it? Football? Anyway. Trying to
Got our 3-on-3 tonight.
lionize the football players. Also, you notice, like, what usually happens when you go into a stadium? Should there be security? Where do you get tickets? Like, what happens? I guess here, right? So you come into here, and there's another cool statue there. And then from here, parts of these are blocked off to us. There's a whole bunch of shops set up here already. Come into here, we get into the space under the seating. Right, the stadium seating is above us, we're underneath it. In a normal stadium, this would be just circulation. As we said, a lot of people moving in and out when you go into and get out of the stadium. So big, wide circulation spaces. In the game, the spaces have been turned into a market. And then, oh, we can come out here, check out. Would the seating be back here, or are we in the wrong place? Hold on, where would the seating be? Anyway, inside the stadium, oh look, one of these giant cargo transports have fallen into the stadium. Again, this would compromise the structure, right? This structure is not safe to be occupied. But we can see that there's a lot of containers inside the giant flying ship. So these flying transports, they do carry container cargo. They do carry cargo containers. So they're basically big transport ships, except they fly in the sky. So that's cool. So if you think back to when we walked through North Side and we saw how no ships were coming into the port anymore, it's because people don't use ships anymore, they use airships now. And so then the port facility is completely redundant now because everything is transported by air. So that explains a lot. In the distance we can see seating, look at that, there's 1, 2, and there's 3 layers of seating, and then I guess those are the VIP boxes, corporate boxes. Right, 1, 2, 3. Actually, now that I'm inside, it's not as big as I thought it was. What can we say here? This is the... Oh, we're underneath the corporate boxes. I guess this is part of the circulation. Yes, it's part of the circulation. You would like... Behind there, I guess you would get into the seating.
Turns out I will be staying at the stadium.
Alright, and I don't think we can get much further than this. No, we can't.
How are you gonna come up with that type of cash?
So that's pretty cool. They showed us the inside of the stadium, and they also showed us one of these flying transports. Very cool. And isn't the fuel highly toxic? I thought the fuel in this world is extremely toxic. Yeah, no, there's nothing safe about this. There's no way people should be here while that's there. There's cranes inside too. Was the stadium not finished? I guess the stadium also wasn't finished when the Barghast took over Dogtown. Back in the stadium, I'm not sure if we need to see too much of this. So there's House of Rubbish, first of all. There's a lot of shops in this space.
Katanas! Machetes! Knives!
And they're like big robots.
For him and her!
It's kind of cool in here. Neon lights, it's pretty busy. Crowded. And then we get back here. Oh, we're stuck on. Get back here, we can see like there's tanks. That's a Militech hover tank being sold by Barghast, and then the sports cars back there. So here we have some structure, look at that. We have diagonal steel beams going that way, which does not make any sense. Because the seating is up there, right? You would want the beams, like the columns, to hold up the seating. So the seating, right, you're kind of looking that way, seating. The columns would just be like that, and that. It would just be straight up holding the seating. It's how a real stadium works. Whereas this, the columns aren't even holding up the weight of the seats. So that should be like the other way around at least. Right? If the diagonal bits were flipped around, that would make a lot more sense. As it is, I don't know why they're pushing that way, because it doesn't need to push that way. And these things are just floating. I guess they cantilevered. So the actual seating bits, there's these cantilevered beams, which is inefficient structurally. The fact that there's no columns down here holding them straight up. I wonder why they chose to do this. Why not just have vertical columns? Is that not cool enough? Like, is that just too boring? I don't know. Let's get back outside. The columns should be vertical, is what I'm saying. Back out.
Katanas! Machetes! Knives! Knuckle dusters!
I wonder if it's too crowded in here or not. I mean, in one sense, it's easier for security because notice there's only one entrance. So in terms of security, it's easier. If somebody steals something, they can't really get out because there's only one entrance. On the other hand, in exchange for better security, it's harder to like move things around, and people like have to go back and forth and they push against each other. The circulation is a little bit inconvenient. But the security is easier to do if there's only one entrance. Alright, coming back outside. And then looking down the strip. The scale of this is a little strange. It's not very aesthetic, is it? The fact that it's kind of lopsided, it's kind of like diagonal on one side and vertical on the other. Because like Las Vegas Strip, if you like have like a row or have like two rows, and maybe if it's wider, so you look like you're walking down a wide axis with like landmarks on either side flanking the streets. I feel like that'd be cooler. I don't know. But you gotta remember there's not enough space here, right? So it is a video game. You can only fit so much geometry into the video game. And they're trying to fit a lot of stuff in here. So maybe we can't complain too much. Alright, let's go that way. Maybe on this side the proportions are better, right? Where can I go that won't get me shot at? So here, the road, there's a cliff on the southeastern side of Dogtown. There's a cliff, and then there's buildings on top of the cliff. So there's like cliffs above and then a lower area. Kind of cool that the buildings up there overlook the strip below. The circulation is awkward. Back here, the road loops through a tunnel to get up to the upper area. Kind of awkward. We'll go up there in a little bit. Coming around the back here, so underneath this cliff there's not too much going on. There are big reinforcements holding up the rock there. Is there meant to be stuff down here? I'm not sure. Maybe at some point there was meant to be more stuff down here. No, that's just the rock back there as well. I guess this is just to hold the cliff up. But I mean, if the cliff needs holding up, maybe you shouldn't build on top of it in the first place. Like if the whole thing's falling down, maybe you shouldn't build there. But they did build there, right? Biotechnica, we'll go up there in a bit. Biotechnica has a thing that goes all the way up the cliff. And they're also holding the whole cliff in place.
Just wanna get out of here, Chew. Leave this whole fucked up zone behind.
Back here, we have some abstract sculptures and bridges up there. Over on this side, we have Haven. It's a church.
This is gonna be good.
The Haven Chapel?
Good.
It's seems to be back to front though. Right, so churches. So it's slightly cruciform, right? You see the that bit there. Churches are sometimes cross-shaped because of the cruciform. But usually you enter the church from the bottom of the cross, and then the you know, the end of the church is on the other side. And also the tower. The church tower usually is on the entrance side. So this church is kind of the wrong way round. You would usually enter the church from the tower side, and then the cruciform would be on the far side. So I'm not sure what happened there, right? Just kind of did this back to front. They put the entrance here, but they could have, like, imagine if you cut the entrance, right? Cut the entrance off, and they just flip everything else around the other way, and then the church would be correct. I don't know why they did the church back to front like this. Maybe they just don't know how churches work? Is that possible? Is it possible that the person who designed this doesn't know how churches work? I don't know. But it is back to front. The tower should be on the other side, at the very least. Golden Fleece. Is that the Golden Fleece? No, that's Montezuma's throne. I don't know where Golden Fleece is. So the Haven Church, if we go inside, we will find that it has been turned into a Ripper Dog clinic. So I guess the people in Dogtown need physical help more than they need spiritual help, because the church doesn't operate as a church anymore. It operates as a clinic. There's the pulpit. Right? Big cross. Oh, it's broken. Alright, so the cross is broken. Symbolic. And then the pews have been turned around and pushed together with the mattress on top and turned into a hospital bed. Look at that. Turned the pews into a makeshift hospital. Very cool. Right, so that's the inside. It's a big concrete structure. Oh, from the inside we don't see the cross. Wait a minute. Because from the outside, it was implied that there were windows? Let me double check. Right from the outside, are these windows or are these not windows? This. Is that a window? Who knows? It is implied that there are windows. And those are windows, right? So it is implied that there are big rectangular windows, and then where the cross is, there's triangular windows. If you look at the outside, that's what it implies. If we go back inside, okay, so those are the rectangular bits. I mean, there's no light coming in. But where's the triangular bit? Where's the staircase? The triangular bit is this? No, that's rectangular. It's just gone. It's just gone. There's no triangular bit. Okay. Unusual. Very strange. Oh well. So there's the church. I mean, it was pretty cool, right? Like, look at it. It was at one point meant to be quite fancy. Curious that there's a church in a place where it's just all gambling and partying. Maybe it's for shotgun weddings. That's probably what it is for. It's probably for shotgun weddings, yeah. Because, you know, Vegas. And it's, you know, it's distinctive enough and it looks good enough that you would take photos in front of it, right? So even the church is a landmark. It's even the church is trying to stand out and be a tourist attraction. Alright, cool. Underneath here, not sure what that is. There is a Rindo Hotel logo on the side of it, but I'm not sure if we can trust that. Oh, Coronado-based cinema. Okay, so this is a cinema. Very old school. Like old school Art Deco cinema. But even cinemas are anachronistic, aren't they? Because we watch everything on Netflix now. Does anybody go to the movies anymore? So cinemas are a little bit old-fashioned. And this is a very old school Art Deco style building. I guess those things are like film reels or something stacked up to make the column. Not too much to see here. Let's continue moving forward.
Spinaches. Oh, yeah, here I am. So good to see a friendly face.
The back of these hotels, not too much to say about them. Up ahead we have a construction site. Guess we should look at that as well. Take a look at the construction technology and materials and methods. It's just reinforced concrete again. So once again, there's no real innovation in the architecture. In fact, this is broken. The steel is bent. And the concrete is cracked. I guess it got damaged in the wall. Alright, so nobody's gonna finish this building because there's no way. You need to take it down and restart because that's not structurally viable anymore. There's no way you can fix that. You just break it down and rebuild it. So this is not actually a construction site anymore because you're not gonna finish this. I don't know what these guys are doing. It's pretending to weld. You're not welding anything, lady. This is not a real construction site. And given it's not a real construction site, because you can't finish this, because look at the state of those columns. There's a lot of machinery just sitting around, and a lot of materials just sitting around. So this is like the aesthetics of a construction site. But it's not realistic, because what's going to happen? These things are worth money. In a place like Dogtown, you would expect somebody to come in here and just steal all the blocks and build their own house with it. Because that's what usually happens when you leave construction materials lying around. Like bags of cement, somebody's gonna take the cement and build their own house. Because these guys aren't using it. This building site is completely defunct. So all of this, it's just piles of money sitting on the ground. If you know what you're looking at, right, look at that, just pallets of money just sitting there. Because otherwise you have to buy concrete blocks from somebody. And there's a concrete mixer in there too. Is that a concrete mixer back there? Walk past it. Like, that's worth money? That's a concrete mixer. Why wouldn't somebody just, you know, put it on the truck and tow it away? Pallets of money just sitting around? So yeah. You know, like, the aesthetics of a construction site, if you don't really know what construction sites are. Because this, like that, you're not gonna finish that building, you know that. So there's no reason why the material should still be here. Because you're not gonna use these on that anymore. And it's worth money. And there's like trucks, why didn't somebody just steal the truck? There's like just trucks sitting around. I would steal it if I was in Dogtown. Also, there's a massive crane back here. We've talked about giant cranes before, right? How like these things don't fit on the road because the road is that big. And then the crane is that big, like that big. See the size of those treads down there. So you can't drive this thing on the road. You can't put this thing on the back of a truck. The only way to move this thing around is to put it on one of those ginormous flying barges. Which makes it more trouble than it's worth, often. Because you have a big crane, like a big mobile crane, okay. But the construction site is not so big that you're ever going to move the crane. Once it's on site, you're not going to move it, because the site's not that big. And a static crane, like those things, the static crane will function just fine, and it's going to be easier to manage than a giant moving crane. So although, again, like this is very cool, a giant crane is very cool, but completely nonsensical on a site like this, right? Because the building is only that big, and the crane is bigger than the building. Like, why would... I mean, if you imagine you have like a big site, and like you're building like a big wide building, and then you need to like, so you need the crane to cover a big area, then maybe having one that moves around, like you can, if you're building like a wide factory, you would like have a crane here, and you build this part, and then you like move the crane across, and you build the next part of the factory, and you move the crane across, and you move. So like if you have a big construction site, that might make a lot of sense. But you know, this construction site is nowhere near big enough for that to make sense. So like, it's just there to look cool, right? It's not not really functional. There's more hotels back there. We're not going there yet. We're going up this way, up to the top of the cliff. If we come around here, oh, there's gonna be enemies up here again, I think. Maybe I can dodge them, we'll see. So up here we have the Tranquil Terrace in the middle, so underneath the giant circle. Heading up to the giant circle, and this is the central axis, I guess, or the cross axis. So the main entrance to Dogtown is down there, and in a straight line up to the circle. Down here we have a staircase that goes up the cliff, and we have a lot of vegetated terraces. There used to be a waterfall and a pool in here, but the waterfall is not working anymore. And then you have staircases that wind back and forth up these beautiful garden terraces. They would have been beautiful if they were maintained. Right? Beautiful garden terraces with great views of Dogtown. And then you wind your way up to the top here. I'm trying to avoid getting into a fight with those guys. Let me come this way. What is this building, by the way? Is this like a cafe? Is this a shop? And then we get up here, and it's like, if you look at it, it's all like curvy. Oh, I didn't mean to jump down. Like, it's all curvy, a bunch of curvy terraces, wavy, up and down the hill. Very nice, very beautiful, very graceful staircase up the side of the hill. And completely ruined and neglected. Alright, we're gonna come over this way. Now that we've gotten past those guys. Really, the tree, they left a hole for the tree. It seems unnecessary, but okay. Like, it's a big accommodation for one little tree, right? I wanna come this way. Well, past this building, I have no idea what this is. No idea what this is. It looks kind of like apartments. I mean, it's perpetually on fire too, that's not a good sign. Alright, no idea what that is. That thing there, the sloping thing, that's a Biotechnica facility. It's pretty big too, like big wide Biotechnica facility. Biotechnica in Pacifica, the story is that they are offering life extension services.
Really gonna pull your weapon on a bargain, soldier?
So they use their knowledge of genetic engineering to offer people life extension. If we come into their building, the building is supposed to evoke some kind of like alien temple, some kind of high-tech facility. So they used a big heavy oh, that's not good. They used a big heavy concrete, so it looks kind of like an ancient building, like, you know, ancient Egyptian, ancient Mesopotamian, or even like Native American pyramids, like big stone structures to make it look like it's thousands of years old, something like that. But it's also futuristic shapes, so it's the whole ancient alien thing where, oh, it's ancient, but it's high-tech at the same time. Like, completely contradictory. But it's to make you feel like, oh, these guys must know something I don't. So these guys have a very high technology and they've been around for a long time. This is awful. This? So once the concrete starts falling off, the steel doesn't do anything anymore. So this beam is completely compromised structurally. Which means that all of that stuff up there is also structurally compromised. Like, sometimes people, when they make video games, they just put this in. And they don't consider that, like, at that state, this whole beam is just gone, it's useless. And so all of this would just fall down. You know, architecture, like, buildings don't stand up like that. Anyway, then I'm just gonna... Oh, if you want to put damage in, you should make it more plausible, please. Like, if some of this is caved in, okay, I would accept that. But no way. Let me just check on this side. So this side, this thing looks like this. Office is up there, I guess. It is heavy concrete all the way. Let's go inside. And the inside looks like this. Oh, very cool. Look at that. Ancient aliens, am I right? Where are we? Yeah, no, this looks like some kind of science fiction alien world, doesn't it? Biotechnica. So what's going on here? They want you to trust them with your DNA, right? They want you to trust them to make your life longer. So you spend a lot of money, you give them all your money, and they extend your lifespan using advanced biotechnology. And so, like, because it's, you know, it's about longevity, so the building needs to look like it's been here for a long time. You know what I mean? If you want to, like, you know, they're selling longevity. So if they, like, sell you longevity out of a tin shed, you wouldn't trust them. But if they sell you longevity out of a building that looks like it's been here for thousands of years, then maybe you would believe them, you know what I mean? Of course, this thing hasn't been here for thousands of years, it's just concrete, right? It's just reinforced concrete. It could have been built last week, you don't know. But it looks like it's been here for a long time because we associate the heavy, heavy masonry with ancient civilizations. And also these shapes that are not quite what you're used to, like instead of vertical and horizontal and rectangles, It's like, oh, it's pyramid shapes. Like, oh, pyramids. The pyramids are ancient. So in your brain, oh, pyramids are ancient. These guys, therefore, these guys are also ancient, maybe. So they're using these tricks to kind of trick you into thinking certain ideas. Like they trick you into associating certain ideas with the brand, right? Very, very evil, but very clever. Extremely clever. And imagine if this was clean, and there were bright lights here, and all the people wear bright white lab coats. You know what I mean? You can see how the marketing gimmick would work on you. And maybe like gentle music is playing. Maybe there's birds in the atrium. Like, you know, the whole marketing, like using like expensive architecture as part of your marketing. Very cool. And like there's a garden inside, like there's light coming in above and there's garden inside, so you're like inside a hidden oasis. So like, oh, there's a secret place, a secret garden where they bestow upon me the secrets of immortality. You know how it is. Would it work? Should it work? Like, it's embarrassing to think that this sort of thing would work, but it does, right? It does work. Like somebody puts on a suit and starts selling you things, you believe them more than if they didn't wear a suit. It's like that. You know, they build a structure like this, you believe them more than if they didn't have a structure like this. Yeah, architecture used to con people. Architecture as advertisements. Because, you know, as a biolab, as a biotechnology lab, there's no reason why it needs to be this shape or these materials. It's purely for marketing purposes. It looks cool. It looks really cool. It's just extremely cynical. Alright, Technica. There's more too, though. This is like the main office building.
Yeah, it's all right.
There's other stuff next door. So there's a bit of a gap here, but there are bridges across. How do we get inside here? The main doors are closed. I think we can... Oh, I think we can sneak in here. This is a bit busted, but... Alright, so I'm probably gonna cut that out. So there were enemies inside, I cleared them out. Let's go in here, right? So the Biotechnica facility, there was the offices and labs on that side, I guess. On this side, we have pools and spas. But it has been taken over by the Voodoo Boys. The Voodoo Boys have taken over this place and they've set up a lot of computer equipment in what used to be swimming pools. So there used to be waterproof glass here. So this used to be a swimming pool. You can see the diving board up there, ladders. They've set up their drone repair in here, the Voodoo Boys. And if we follow the corridor, back here we have more swimming pools. This one is shaped like a... well, it has some rocks in it. And I think the implication is that the Voodoo Boys have set up their computers and they're using the old water pipes and the water infrastructure as cooling for their computers. I think that's what's being implied. Not 100% sure. Doesn't seem very waterproof though. So back here we have glass ceiling, big concrete beams, but it's a glass ceiling and giant swimming pools in the back. I guess it's some sort of health spa facility. I don't know, I don't go to these places. Come here for your um, health treatments. What do they do anyway? You're just swimming, right? You're swimming and you're doing exercises, and maybe you have some gym trainers teaching you how to exercise in here, I guess. So we have big swimming pools, diving board up there. Right, so that's this side. And this is also part of the Botanica facility. Hey, look at that, that's cool. And you're kind of inside, but it's open on the roof. Is it glass or is it open? I think it's open. So you have privacy, but you're also outdoors. It's a little bit hard to read. The Voodoo Boys put all their stuff in here, so you can't really tell what's going on. And then there's more spaces back here. I don't know what this is meant to be. Just bridges and doorways? Okay, back out. I mean, we went in there, right? So it's a pool facility. We didn't see any changing rooms, but maybe it's just in one of the spaces that were closed. Like, you think about what a pool needs, and then there's like the machinery, like the water pumps, heating. Like, we saw some of the spaces, we didn't see the other spaces. And you know, you gotta wonder if all the pieces are really there or not. From the outside, it doesn't look like a pool either. So I guess it's not meant for a public. It's meant to be for a private clientele, I believe. Okay, moving past the Botanica facility. Moving over to this side. We arrive at a giant circle. What is the giant circle? Oh, let's not get run over. So there's a big circular terrace, and then there's the big circular building. If we... no, not there yet. Let's continue going up. Those bullet holes? Yeah, those are bullet holes. That says Eventide Resort. Eventide Spa and Resort, I believe. So there's a picture of it there, right? That's what it's meant to look like when it's finished. But I think it took a missile to the side. I think that's broken off, right? That might be okay structurally. Not sure about those floors there. But the rest of it is probably gonna stay standing. I'm not sure if the rubble is still up there though. I mean, you remember what happened to the World Trade Center, right? The plane hit it and then the whole thing collapsed straight down. So if you think about the World Trade Center, 9/11, that's what I mean when I say, like, when you compromise one part of the building, the whole thing is weakened. So like 9/11, the planes hit the side of the tower and eventually the whole thing fell down. So this, it took a hit to the side. Should it stay up? Because the World Trade Center didn't stay up, like the whole thing fell down. And like the stadium over there, like that took a few hits too as well. There's a big transport in the middle that's crashed in. Should that stay up or should the whole thing fall down? Because in the real world, the World Trade Center, both of them just the whole thing just fell down. And I'm not gonna talk about conspiracies. So here, yeah, yes, I get it. There was a war, it got hit. But shouldn't all the glass be blown out? If there was an explosion there, should that glass be intact? Maybe it shouldn't. You know what I mean? Like, it's a giant explosion. So it's a big circular hotel. And I guess the rooms face both ways, right? You have a big view of Dogtown from one side, and I guess you have the view of the other side facing the other way. The interior of the Eventide Spa and Resort. is a major gameplay area, and it doesn't make sense at all as a hotel resort. Like, you come in here. Oh, there are people in here too. Oh, that's annoying, isn't it? How many people are in there? A few? You'll notice there's no reception. Are there elevators? Are these elevators? I guess these elevators are meant to go up to the hotel, but there's no... Like, there's no lobby, there's no reception. The hotel part doesn't really make sense. Well, I mean, there is no hotel part is what I mean to say. Because the, in the game, you just come in here and you take care of these enemies, and then you go downstairs to meet your... Oh, that attack was already done. Go downstairs to meet your contact.
Come to mama.
There's a circular room here. I guess this would be the main... Maybe the lobby's in here? And there's rooms all... I mean, there's doors around the side. Yeah.
Holy shit!
I don't really know how to read this. Like, how does this work as a hotel? I don't know, I can't tell.
The incredible disappearing act.
At the moment, though, the Voodoo Boys once again have taken over. And they've set up all their computing equipment down here. It's meant to be a spa resort. Where are the spas? Are these, like, are they behind these doors? That's storage. Yeah, no, I can't read it. I think they just made a space for gameplay. I'm not sure that this is really a hotel. Maybe a reception desk in here would work? Where are the elevators though? Like, those are the elevators? Yeah, I'm not sure how that works. Okay, let's go back outside. If we continue along the top of this cliff, there's more construction sites over that way.
Came to Dogtown for her. Turns out she's here chasing her ex.
Let's follow the road. Oh wait, we want to come down here? We have a bit of a park over here. Again, we have structurally compromised concrete that should not be standing there. Like, that should just fall down. I mean, that's fallen down. I don't know what this space used to be. What is it? A skating rink? And what is this? There's a fountain in the middle? And what is this? Some kind of rotunda. And then down here we have an outdoor theater. You know, like the ancient Greeks used to, I guess. Except somebody put up basketball hoops up there. I don't think this was always a basketball court. There's no lines. There's no court lines. I think this was supposed to be a theater, but some basketball enthusiast put in the hoops. Except that, I mean, if you've played basketball before, you would be familiar of the ball flying out of the court sideways. And if that happened here, it's gonna go all the way down there, and you're gonna have to go all the way down there to pick up the ball to bring it back up. So they're like, come on. Basketball courts, you need a fence over here, right? There's no way you would actually play basketball. And you know, you fumble a catch, and then you just chuck the ball over the cliff. That'd be annoying. Surprisingly low tech, right? For a place like Dogtown, like for a place like Pacifica that's meant to be like luxury tourism, this is surprisingly low tech. Like this is very this is not elitist. This is very common or populist. You know, the term like populism came all the way from the Roman Republic, right? The oligarchs and the populace. You know, like the people and the Senate of Rome, there were two groups. There were the ordinary people, and then there were the aristocracy. And this sort of forum slash theater, like this public space, this would be not something the elites would be into as much. Maybe. Maybe I'm wrong. What I'm saying is that with all the bright lights and all the casinos and all the entertainment and the theaters and everything else, why would anyone come out here to, I don't know, watch Shakespeare or something? Not sure like where this fits into Dogtown, a place like this. Alright, I'm gonna run over this way. What's going on there? A woman statue? And then we have seats, but the seats face into the statue. Not sure what function this serves. Like this, in a way it's free entertainment, and that's unusual in a hyper-capitalist place like this. Like a public park is free entertainment, and you would think in a place like this, they would want to charge you money for everything. So like, I don't know, like are there public parks in Vegas? There aren't, right? Are there public parks on the Las Vegas Strip? I don't think there are, because they don't want public parks on the Las Vegas Strip. They want you to go inside the casinos and spend money. Up here we have more buildings. That says the High Peak. High Peak, is it a hotel or what? High Peak Hotel Resort. Okay, another hotel resort. The shape of it is a bit dubious. I mean, it looks interesting superficially, but with a hotel, you want views. Like one of the most important things in a place like this, especially we're on a cliff, you want to maximize the views, and so all the windows, like the building should be narrow so that every room has a window, preferably multiple windows, and then the windows should look out on a good view, right? So here's the thing about that one, the Eventide. The big circle, it's a flat disc, and so there's good views this way and there's good views that way. Like you have rooms on both sides, corridor down the middle, and the whole disc, like it's just facing the views. So that's a great design for a resort hotel, because you go into your room, there's a big window on the opposite end, and it's just wow, the view. Here, these buildings, they don't face anything. So you tell me this is a resort hotel, and I'm just gonna ask you, like, where are the rooms? And what are they looking at? If there are rooms there, they're just looking at the other rooms on the other side. That's not what you want to have in your hotel. You don't go to a hotel to have no view, you know what I mean? And the better the view, the more attractive your hotel is, the more customers you're gonna have. So if you're gonna spend however much money on a hotel, you would design it so that for the amount of money you spend, you get the best views possible. So the shape of this building is not convincing as a hotel. It could be something else, right? It could be like a conference center. Like when you're having a conference, you're not looking outside the window. You know what I mean? Like it could be something else. It doesn't have to be a hotel. But you telling me it's a hotel, I don't believe you. I don't really believe you. The next thing up here, but it's not really up here, it's more like all down the cliff. So this building, it sits on the edge of the cliff, and it goes all the way down along the side of the cliff. The very top of it though, we have the Akebono. The Akebono, I think at the very top here we have a restaurant, I think. Although the Barghast have taken over. Let me step back here. This is a gameplay area. And so these terraces, like what are these? What would you do here? Like is it it's a hotel, is it a restaurant? Up here it's a restaurant, I can tell what this is. That's a bar. Right behind the bar, there's a kitchen. And then in front of the bar we have seating. So it's a restaurant, and then upstairs I believe we have more seating. Right? More tables, more seating. So this is a restaurant. Although the tables aren't really restaurant tables, more like a bar tables. But that's okay, no big deal. Yeah, no, the tables are too low. That's so interesting. The tables are low for gameplay reasons. So, they make some compromises. But I can read this, right? We can all read this. There's a bar, there's a kitchen. So some of these spaces make sense. Other spaces, it's just there for the gameplay. Looking down there, so down the cliff we have other hotels. Can't really go into any of them. Let's continue. Oh, what about this glass? This is some glass. What's going on? Is it curved? Or are these flat panels? I think these are flat panels. So we have these things holding the pieces of glass in place, right? And the glass, I think, are flat panels. But they're tiled to become this curved cylindrical shape. And they're like diagonals. I mean, I guess you would design this with a computer. Which, you know, if you think back a lot of videos ago, I did talk about how in the main part of Night City, there are very few curved shapes like this. Because the architecture came from the 1970s, back before computers were used a lot in architecture. So this would require computers. So this is later. This is like 90s onwards, maybe even 2000s style architecture. So you know how I said like the Dogtown is designed differently from the rest of Night City? That's what I mean, right? Like you didn't have these shapes outside Dogtown. And certainly not glass like this. I mean, this is dubious. There's no structure holding up that glass. So that's not right. But you could make that work. You just put a little bit of structure in there, have some fixtures holding the pieces of glass in place. You could make that work. It's just that they didn't here. Very complex shapes, like those shapes. But you can figure that out with the computer and then just cut the glass pieces to shape. Yeah, and we just didn't have stuff like this in Night City, outside Dogtown. So a whole different design philosophy. Coming around this way, I guess this way. At the very back corner, We have Terra Cognita. Grand opening June 10, 2069. Nice. So the last war, the Unification War, was 2069 to 2070. So as we said, it was due to open and then the war broke out right before it opened. And then everything got abandoned. So in here, Terra Cognita. Terra Cognita is a little bit like the World of Tomorrow in Disneyland. I should get back to daytime. It's showing off technology. So it's a little bit like, oh, it's education. It's kind of telling you about advances in science and technology. But actually, if you look at it, all of these, they're sponsored by the big corporations. So the corporations are sponsoring these displays to show off their own technology. And they're pretending it's some kind of educational display, but really it's advertising, right? So here we have Organotopia, and there's a bunch of plants in here. I think this is Biotechnica. Probably Biotechnica, but it's gonna be one of those biotech companies.
Take a moment. Think what these words share.
The main door is actually down here. Well, I mean, this is not a great front door. Coming back here, we have a lot of trees inside a greenhouse. I don't know if I want to walk all the way in. So this is another gameplay area. There's a whole lot of enemies in here as you come through the first time. So we have these fake rocks, and then these walkways covered in plants. I guess I'll walk through. You know what? Let's walk all the way through.
You want your teeth broken?
I think the plants are a little bit overgrown. Oh, this tree. It snapped, but where did it grow in the first place? There's no space for it up there? I guess it just dodged the walkway above. Are these giant trees? Or are these fake trees? No, these are rocks. I mean, all the rocks are fake, right? Because we're inside a greenhouse. So we have the glass roof, and then we have concrete structure. Coming through here. What is this? A cafe? Gift shop, I guess. And then further back there's the museum. The whole circulation is a bit odd, like you go through one space and then with a cafe, and then you come into the museum space and there's dinosaur bones on display. So for gameplay purposes, it makes 100% it makes sense. Because there's like one room with enemies in it, you clear that room, you go through a space, and then there's another room with enemies in it, and then you clear that one. So it's like a sequence of arenas where you fight the enemies. Okay, for gameplay purposes, makes a lot of sense. As a museum though, museums are not designed like this, come on. Like you need like the main entrance first of all was not a thing. You need to have like a main entrance, and then you have displays, like you have wings with displays in them. Like that's how an actual museum's gonna be. So the whole layout is busted if you think about it as a realistic museum, but it's not. It's just a place for you to fight enemies, actually. Glass roof, everything's overgrown, dinosaur bones. Anyway, that's all it is. I think it'd be cooler if it was an actual museum, and you fought your way through an actual museum. But this not big enough anyway. I guess it's they didn't have the budget for it, probably. Right, let's get out. This is not the main entrance, right? Where is the main entrance? Is this really? No, this can't be the main entrance. Is there even a main entrance? No? No, there's not even a main entrance. Huh. So back here we can't get into these buildings. We can look at the outside though. Some of these are displaying cybernetics. That thing there is just a big rectangle. Cyber Immortal is showing off cybernetics. No, it's Digi Immortal, my bad. Digi Immortal is showing cybernetics. The building is a box, but there's like a diagonal overhang around the edge. So when you see that, usually that shape is because it's a stadium, and that's the stadium seating. Here, this is not a stadium, so this is just redundant. From what I remember of the inside, like the inside is just a rectangular box. So that stuff out there is just completely redundant. Again, I mean, it doesn't really match. The shape of the building doesn't match what it is on the inside. Right, usually that means seating. Either it's like lecture halls, or movie theater, or a stadium. Over on this side, oh, I guess I'll jump down here. There's a space display. Although this is also just a big rectangular box. I think there's enemies here too. Alright, so that's what it looks like on the outside, just a big rectangular box. Coming in on the inside. A big rectangular space on the inside. With enemies, let me just... take a few of these guys out real quick. Glass roof. There's a big space shuttle hanging on the roof. And then there's rooms around the sides, so it's just a big rectangular open space. Again, more gameplay focused than anything else. Right, and that's Terra Cognita. Like, architecturally there's not that much to talk about here. They really put gameplay first up here, and like the architecture came second place. A lot of the spaces is just like big rectangle, and then connection, and then big rectangle. It's alright. Back here, there is an elevator down to ground level. If I can get past these guys. Are there enemies again? Oh, there's enemies again. Are you serious? Why are there enemies everywhere?
All clear, I guess.
Why are there so many enemies? Okay, I think I got all of them. Oh, there's loot over there. You know what? I'm gonna grab the loot since I'm here. Over on this side, so there was a cliff, right? So now we're at like the top level of the buildings that were built on the side of the cliff. Let me grab this. Yeah, loot. Wild blue. So there's like, this is the top of the hotels, and if you look out here, Right at the top of the building, and then we look down. Don't fall down, and then so the building goes all the way down to the bottom of the cliff. And I guess these are big hotels on the side of the cliff. There's a service elevator here. I'll have to call the elevator. So down there we have a bunch of hotels. The street continues down this way. We're at the end of the southern end of Dogtown. I'm gonna go all the way down to the ground. Right in front of us, we have a big Art Deco style hotel, I guess. Big glass atrium. Very fancy. Oh, balconies. So those are probably hotel rooms down there. Although again, the view's not great if they are hotel rooms. Oh, out of the way. Again, the bags of money just sitting around. I mean, it's not money, but cement it does cost money. Coming around the back here, so this is a construction site. None of these buildings are finished. A lot of leftover equipment. Coming back here. Underneath this building, again, like these people just hang around, and it's really surprising they don't break into the buildings and live inside them. What is this? Is this finished? There's golden lights on the columns? How close is this building to being finished?
Invisible hand tomb. Clap it right out of their pocket, then Delta.
Where did they catch me?
At the stadium? Oh, come on. You know where to hide.
And then as we come out here from under the building, we arrive at the Longshore Stacks. So in this corner of Dogtown, there's a bunch of makeshift structures. So those are container structures. I guess these are like prefabricated units built out of containers. And they're all stacked up back here into a bit of a settlement. I'm just trying to think, like trying to figure out what this is. I mean, this could have been temporary housing for all the construction workers back when the things were being built. Like back when the towers were being built, maybe the construction workers lived on site back here in some of these containers, because especially this, for example, that seems fairly well organized. There's like a proper frame, proper roof frame, and then like the units are stacked up. You would transport the units here by truck and then use a crane to put them in place. Some of this other stuff seem a little more haphazard. You see how the way they don't actually line up the containers properly. So these seem a little more haphazard. Maybe these were put in place after Hansen and Bargast took over the place. So it's supposed to be like a makeshift settlement. But again, like, why do people live like this? Why don't they just finish these buildings and live in the buildings? Or even don't finish the buildings, just live in the buildings. I don't know. It's a little incomprehensible to me. In the story, like in the game, as you play through the game, they do talk about how Hansen stops people from going into the half-finished buildings. And maybe there are like secret projects going on in the buildings. I don't know what's going on. What I'm saying is, if I was the boss of Dogtown, I would just finish up some of these buildings and have the people live in proper buildings. The game doesn't really explain it, and I find it a little bit incomprehensible as well.
BD like that once.
We should go check the wreckage. It's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, Choom.
Over here, we have a bit of a town center, right? So Longshore Stacks has... It's like a little village, and there's a village center. There's a tree in the middle, marking the village center. And there's a bit of a market out here as well. So a bunch of shops. So you know, for a place that looks like a bunch of containers piled up, the economy is pretty lively and there's plenty of people living here, right? So this is a proper settlement with a proper structure. It's just not very well built, right? Look at this. There's a steel frame and a whole bunch of containers inside.
Injection pump!
And you gotta remember that in order to build these giant steel frames, you do need like big cranes and proper equipment and proper steel working skills, right? And lifting the containers into place, you also need a big crane to lift the containers into place. So this is not a shanty town, not a proper shanty town, in the sense that, remember as we went through Rancho Coronado, there was like a favela style shanty town near the dam, and there we had buildings where they have like reinforced concrete frame and then concrete block infilling the walls. So those structures, like the concrete and the concrete blocks, you don't need heavy cranes, you don't need giant cranes to build that. Whereas these containers, you do need a giant crane to lift these things into place, because you can't build the container piece by piece. You need to move the whole container one at a time, the whole thing at a time. And you can't do that by hand, you have to have machines. So whoever stacked these containers up, they had a big crane to do this. Like it wasn't a bunch of poor people building these things on their own. It was somebody with heavy equipment. And if they had enough heavy equipment to build a town like this, I would argue that they would have enough equipment to finish some of these buildings and live in the buildings. You see what I mean? So it's not actually a shanty town. It's something that was built with machinery and with organized labor. And then they decided to build it like this, build it in a haphazard way, even though they had big cranes. So, like, I don't really know how to look at that thing. That bridge is moving up and down. So those cranes are operational, I think. I just don't see how you justify that. Where you have the equipment, you have the materials, but you choose to build something that's just not very good. I don't know how you make sense of that. Okay, let's get out of here. And that's pretty much the entirety of Dogtown, right? So let's go back out to the casinos. This place was going to be the main entertainment district, like the very center of the entertainment district of Pacifica. And there was going to be a lot of casinos, a lot of hotels, a lot of rich people, a lot of money. And everything was being built, and everything was almost finished. And then the war broke out.
You could turn back time.
And then during the war, this place got taken over by Barghast, and Barghast never left. And so the money left and never came back. And it ended up like this. And although, like, I get it. I get the story they're trying to tell, like, that's the story they're trying to tell, right? And I understand that the whole point of the entirety of Cyberpunk is this tragedy, right? The tragedy of lost opportunities. Like, the whole city is a tragedy. Everywhere you look, there are things that were supposed to be great, supposed to be beautiful, and then something went wrong and everything went to hell. So that's like the whole story of Cyberpunk, is tragedy. But here, I mean, I think they just, like, they went for the aesthetics of tragedy. But if you just think about the logistics of tragedy, like, none of this makes sense. And I'm talking about, like, even simple things, like the fact that these cars are in the middle of the road. As opposed to, you know, you get a couple of guys, maybe like 8 or 10 guys, you can pick these up and move them to the side, and you can just clear the road. You'll be surprised how much like a couple of guys with shovels and wheelbarrows can fix. Like they can fix a lot. So this city, the way it is now, it's much more wrecked and much more dirty than it really needs to be. Like cracks like this, you can just, you know, get some dirt, get some gravel and just fill that in a little bit. So the neglect here is a little bit excessive. Excessive to the point that it's not really believable to me. Like, and if you think about it, it's really not. Like, why is that still there? Like, everybody would want to move this. Especially Barghast, right? Barghast, the group, they're soldiers, and they have, like, military trucks, and they have tanks, and it's their job to maintain order in this city. And a bunch of soldiers who want to move their trucks around, they're gonna clear the roads. And they're big guys, so they can clear the roads very easily. They can just pick this stuff up and move them around. So the aesthetics does not really fit the story. Does that make sense? Like they want to tell you that this is a neglected war zone, but it's too neglected somehow. And again, the fact that, you know, some of these buildings are 90% finished, and you could very easily finish them. Barghast clearly have enough resources to finish them. And if they finish them, then they have like a functioning building that they can use, that they would use. But they just don't finish it? Why? Why wouldn't they? So a lot of this stuff is not really thought through, in my opinion. And I guess, I don't know, maybe they don't expect you to think that hard about it. I wonder how many people really think that hard about it. Maybe it's only me. Like, yeah, no, these cars don't have to be like that. Okay, that is the end of our tour of Dogtown. Let's get back out of here. I'm gonna walk back outside. We have went through all the districts of the city, except that outside the city there are the Badlands. And there are some locations in the Badlands where we can look at some architectures too. So in the next video we're gonna go outside the city and go all around the Badlands and look at the locations out there. Really? Okay, I'm gonna try and get through before they flag me.
Light this bitch up!
Never mind. Alright, I'm gonna do that in my own time. In the next video, I'll be outside the gates, and we will look at the Badlands. See you next time.